So I just wanted to talk a little bit about from my last video where I went down to just under 6 stone at one point. This was when I'd taken my husband back and then he'd left us again. I won't go into it all now, but I will another time. So not coping with life at all, was sure that I should be with him, was desperate to look after my daughter, desperately wanted her to have a father in her life, but he just wasn't. He couldn't seem to stick it out. He was a narcissist, or is a narcissist, should I say, because he still is alive to this day and continues to ignore my daughter, but that's another story. But when he left this time again, it just took such a toll on me. My parents had no sympathy for me at all because as far as they were concerned, he was the cause of all my troubles, which he did cause me a lot of trouble, yeah, but they were the ones who started everything by making me feel useless. So after he'd left, it got to the point where I was doing quite a lot of jobs at that time. I was doing a lot of cleaning jobs, but it got to the point where I couldn't face going out anymore. Couldn't face being out with anybody. I couldn't sleep at night. I'd literally lie awake all night. I'd have a bit of music on. I mean, we're going back 40 years or so. So, there was no sort of YouTube and that type of thing then. So I'd put the radio on, I'd read, I'd sit up in bed. I could not sleep at night, so I'd lay awake all night. My daughter would be asleep in the bed next to me, and obviously I'd try not to disturb her because she needed to sleep. So when she'd wake up in the morning, I'd get her ready for school, and then I'd take her to school, and when I came back, that's when I could sleep. I couldn't seem to sleep in the night time at all. I don't know whether it is the darkness. I've always had a terror of the dark, which, I have to be honest, has got a lot better now. But I had an abject terror of it when I was younger. So yeah, I would sleep while she was at school and then set the alarm to make sure that I got up to go and collect her again. And I, carried on like that for quite some time. I was still having the same old panic attacks, still going deeper within myself because I really couldn't deal with people very well. There would be one or two people I would see, but it would be a case of just going in on myself, but trying to do things for my daughter that she enjoyed. And then, going in on myself the rest of the time. I started having really bad panic attacks again. I thought at one point I was having a heart attack. I remember this time, I really thought I was having a heart attack. I felt that bad. So I called for an ambulance and I was lucky enough the people in the flat above said they'd look after Lizzie for me. That's my daughter. And when the ambulance came and I told them what the matter was, they were really dismissive of me. It was awful. They said, "You're not having a heart attack, you're just panicking." They had no care for me at all. They did take me into hospital, but they said I'd have to get a taxi back because they certainly weren't going to take me home again. I'm in such an awful attitude. And I was panicking, it's true, but I was in a hell of a state. So where I was really struggling with sleeping, I would phone up mum and dad and say, could they come and get me, because I couldn't cope with being in the flat on my own with Liz. They'd come and collect me. I'd go and stay a couple of days, then I'd go back to the flat again to try again. And it got to the point in the end, and I suppose within my life at this time, I hadn't realised that my parents were the main source of my problem. I hadn't realised it then, so going to stay with them felt at the time like a good thing. So eventually Liz and I did go and stay with them for a period of time. But it's at this time that I got the first ever cuddle from my mum, and that was instigated by me. She never cuddled us as kids. I have no memory of her cuddling me as a child. I asked my sister once, did mum ever cuddle you? And her answer to me was, well, she used to draw with us sometimes. Was that the extent of it? I think it was. And the only reason she cuddled me was because I woke up one morning, Lizzie was with her dad for the weekend, and I was just in absolute floods of tears. My mother was still in bed, and I actually got in bed with her and I cuddled her. So it wasn't like she responded to anything that was going on with me. I cuddled her. It's a very difficult thing to remember, but there were just no cuddles. There was nothing. There was nothing positive about my upbringing. So while I was there, that was when I got to the point where I just couldn't eat. I'd sit at the table with the meal, tears just silently pouring down my face because I just couldn't eat. I was petrified stuff was going to get caught in my throat. Absolutely petrified. And that was when it got to the point where my mum would make me mashed potato every day because she'd know I'd eat it. And she knew I liked Mars bars and they were soft enough, so I had some of those too. But there is a photo around of me somewhere at 6 stone and I look so emaciated. It's dreadful. Yeah, so it took me quite some time to get over that. We were there for about 3 months altogether in the end, I guess. And then gradually over time, I started feeling a bit better and a bit better. I'd have to keep going to the doctors because they'd want to see me to see how I was doing. And the thing I remember about that is that I wasn't well enough to drive. My mother would tell my sister that she had to take me to the doctors, and it was about a 6-mile drive, and my sister was working at the time. And all I remember about it is that my mother used to come, and I'm really not sure why, and my sister would moan about having to take me the whole of the time. Every time, well, I say every time, can't have been more than 3 or 4 times, but every time she would moan like mad at me because my mum had made her take me. I mean, I physically wasn't capable of driving. And when I did finally get my car and get back into driving, the minute I got in the car, I would start shaking, sweating, breathing erratically, having a panic attack. I had a paper bag at this time, a brown paper bag, and I used to breathe in and out using it so that would help calm me down. So over a period of time, I was able to control the panicking until I was finally able to drive my daughter the 6 miles to school without panicking. But that took a long time, and I can still feel the strain of it now, trying not to show my daughter that I was upset. So yeah, this was a horrible period of time, as I say, where I lost all this weight and just couldn't eat, but gradually did build it up again. And it was from then on that I started with bulimia.